You've heard the news by now. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a deal that is going to see all the hostages that have been held in Gaza released in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. And although the Israeli government still needs to officially approve the plan before it commences, which, by the way, is something they could do very soon, President Trump told reporters today that the remaining hostages who are held by Hamas should be released by Monday or Tuesday, a day that he says, and we all agree, is going to be a great day of joy. But what all else is remaining in all of this? And are we literally, potentially, about to see the end of this war? Well, joining me now to discuss this live from Tel Aviv is Ruthie Blum. She's a columnist and senior contributing editor at the Jewish News Syndicate. She's also a former advisor at the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Ruthie, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to see you.
Thank you so much, Jody. It's great to be here.
Well, listen, thank you. I know it's late there. Thank you for staying up to giving us the latest of what's happening here. Let me begin, Ruthie, just with your overall reaction to the news when you first heard it, and what are you hearing from others there in Israel?
Okay, so first of all, when we first heard about the plan, that's before it was accepted. It was accepted by Israel, but as President Trump said, we're waiting for Hamas to give an answer. The other Arab countries and Turkey, etc., said yes, and President Trump was waiting for Hamas's answer. That was 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. I'm getting confused because, as you say, it's late at night. Right now, the Israeli cabinet is meeting to approve this, and Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are here, so nobody's getting any sleep. All right, but anyway, Hamas suddenly, late at night, issued a response, which basically was no, it wasn't yes. But President Trump did a clever thing. He said, oh, Hamas accepted the deal. Now we can all meet in Sharm el-Sheikh and iron it out. Hamas's answer was really anything but a yes. But this started the wheels in motion, and what we now know is that the hostages are going to be returned. And the beauty of this deal is that, unlike previous deals that were called peace deals, etc., in Israel and with the Palestinians, this one puts the onus on Hamas. It is saying you first free the hostages and then Israel will free prisoners. You first do this and then Israel will do that. In other words, treating Hamas like the defeated entity that it actually is. And this has been a big mistake of liberal American administrations and liberal Israeli ones too in the past, that negotiations with terrorists always sort of treated them as equals or as, people that are like, okay, we're making a deal. No, this time the onus is on Hamas.
Well, we are all prayerful and hopeful that they're going to hold the deal and release the hostages come Monday or Tuesday. This is just phase one. Now, there are other outstanding issues that are not covered by this particular phase of the agreement. So what are some of the other needs that will be sorted out going forward?
Well, from Israel's perspective, again, all the goals of the war were to have the hostages freed and to have Hamas completely disarm and ensure that Gaza is de-radicalized to the point that it no longer poses a threat to the state of Israel. So all of that is in that deal. There are other sticking points like humanitarian aid. Okay, Israel has agreed to that. There'll continue to be a flow of humanitarian aid. But Hamas has been saying, well, about disarming, maybe we'll just disarm our heavy weapons and not our light weapons, or, listen, it's a terrorist group. So it's going to try any stunt that it can. The only question is, what happens if it doesn't do something? That's always the question in these deals. Because believe me, peace is not going to come out of this. When the war is over, we're still going to have, when I say the war is over, I mean when Israeli troops withdraw to an agreed upon line that is drawn on a map that was agreed upon between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and the other countries. After that, the question always is, what happens when, not if, when the terrorists violate? I'm praying that this time around, especially after the trauma of October 7th, 2023, that we are going to take the tiniest violation with the utmost seriousness and not be worried about what the UN says if we have to go back into Gaza and kill more terrorists.
President Trump is going to be traveling, at least he's saying so, to the Middle East in coming days, and he has certainly been invited to speak there at the Israeli Knesset. And in fact, the Knesset was lit up, as I understand, in red, white, and blue for that expected visit. How are the people of Israel feeling about President Trump right now?
They are so enamored of President Trump that you have no idea. At Hostages Square in Tel Aviv, they had somebody dressed up like Trump. They're just people wrapped in American flags and people screaming, Trump, Trump, Trump. Now, I want to tell you why that's ironic. I mean, I'm thrilled with President Trump as well, but I'd just like to say what's ironic about it. Part of the main protest, anti-government protest movement, which tried to hijack all the hostage families by turning the need to free the hostages into an anti-government protest for the past 2 years. These anti-government protesters tend to be on the left, if not the radical left. And to hear the leftists praising Trump to the skies and singing odes to him in order to say that Netanyahu had no role in this amazing outcome, as though Netanyahu didn't change the face of the Middle East in the last 2 years.
Wow. Ruthie Blum, I'll tell you, this is exciting times and times for everyone to be continuing in prayer. Again, thank you. I know it's late there. You probably would love to go to sleep, but you've got a lot of plates spinning there. So get back to work and try to get a little bit of rest. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Great.
Well, again, thank you so much for having me.